Right guys, so back with the second progress report. I'm quite excited about this one actually. So I don't know if you watched the last one. Basically I was talking about my swing, where I've got to with that, and my handicap, first handicap. Go check that out and make sure you subscribe as well so you don't miss any. Okay, so one of the big changes that I'm excited about is this bad boy, my driver. So everyone loves hitting driver, until about a week or two ago I didn't. So I had a big slice, and now miraculously, well not miraculously, I'll explain how, but that's changed to a draw that's going about 20 yards further as well. Yeah, so basically before I was just hitting this really big slice, couldn't really control it. Lots of things little things that I was doing wrong. Main thing was not bringing the club down, like letting the club come into position. I was turning everything else through first, so the club's just way behind me, and just opening the face in a massive slice. So trying to correct that. Since I had a few pointers from Jonathan as well, we've worked on keeping my arms more connected to my body. So I'll just show you, more like this. So you can see with this right arm, keeping it in. One of the things was to just putting a head cover under my right arm and keeping that there, just to feel like my arms are staying connected to my body. One of the next things was Jonathan noticed I was doing something I actually mentioned in the previous video, but I was doing it again, is getting my weight onto that left side on the backswing, like with my head especially. If I just show you this again. So I was going like that, rather than staying back. To make me feel like I'm staying back, he just held a alignment stick. So he just held this here, so as I swung, he just said don't touch the stick all the way through, and that's just helped me so much, because then on the way through as well, it means I'm staying like behind the ball, so I'm hitting a lot more up on the ball as well, which is one of the reasons it's going further. So with both of those things, basically I'm coming more from the inside rather than like over the top, and I'm hitting up on the ball, and it's creating a nice long draw, which, yeah, over the moon about. Best thing about my golf at the moment. The big thing with that as well is, like talking about it with Jonathan, is I'm now kind of taking one side of the golf course out of play in a good way, you know, when we go back to the course management video that we did. So if I'm getting my driver, like the first at Hallamshire, there's a wall to the right, which even with my slice I kind of set up and I've got enough room, but I know that I'm not going right, so I can aim down that right side, and with my draw, you know, it's perfect. Actually, I just mentioned before Jonathan tells me off, I hit a rescue down the first tee, so I don't take my driver off there at the moment, playing it more like a par 5, which is working perfectly for me as well. So one of the next things is I have played a couple of rounds, had a couple of medals, and obviously that's where it's counting. I've not played great. I've played a 19 and 20 over, so over my handicap. And I mean, one of those, if you've been following again on Instagram and things, you'll have seen, and I explain, but I had a 10 on a hole, just came from purely bad course management as well. Just took the wrong shot, put myself in trouble, lost 2 balls, and made a 10 down a par 5. So if it wasn't for that, I would have shot my handicap, but something to learn from. So yeah, I mean, with this drive as well now, and my swing shape that's getting there, again, it's still definitely not perfect and where exactly I'm trying to get it to, but it's better. Everything's just, you know, starting to come in a bit with my shot, so that's hopefully, I'm going to see the scores come down. So yeah, I feel like it's coming, so I'm just trying to be a bit patient at the moment, keep making sure I'm working on the right things, and it's easy to say, but yeah, I feel like I'm going to start seeing some improvements on the course. If I'm not, obviously I've got to go back and reassess it, but that's where I'm at the moment. Okay, so I also had a gym lesson with Alex. It's just, I didn't really know what I was as I was saying, is I'm having trouble with distance control. So like his point then is, if it's all just feel and hands, it's going to be harder to control that distance. So you got me trying to use the bounce of the club a lot more, and just keeping it all together, if that makes any sense. Together, that's what I got from it. So club more upright, bit closer to me than obviously what I was before. Not anything too drastic like that, or right back in my stance, just middle of the stance, in front of me, and then just again, bit like the drive and everything, actually just letting the club come down rather than going in a lot of like flash speed. So if you can see from there, just trying to use that bounce a lot more, really. Making sure I'm using the loft of the club as well, not trying to force anything, like with all the clubs, just trying to let the loft of the club do the work for me. And then a couple of other little points, just making sure I finish through and I'm facing the target. I feel a little bit like I'm kind of making sure I'm staying high as well, I was getting down right into it a little bit. And then finally, one thing Callum mentioned, and it's great from that chipping drill that Jonathan showed me as well, is about picking my targets on the green, rather than thinking of just the hole, thinking where I'm going to pitch the ball to, and then let it do the work. Whether that means as well altering what club I'm using to make it easier. So saying let's using something like a 50 degree, obviously, rather than a 60 degree, just to let it run out, because my target's going to be a lot bigger than with a 60 degree. I'm going to have to pitch it a lot closer in a lot smaller area, rather than a 50 degree, pitching it further back. I've got a bit more room to work with and just let the ball run into that area. The final thing I want to mention is I had the opportunity to go down to the British Masters for the Pro-Am and walk around with Lucas, who Jonathan's caddying for. So I walked around with both of them, and it was brilliant seeing and being so close as well, hearing how they talk over shots. But I've gone into a bit more detail on one of my other posts, so you can check that out as well. I'll put a link up somewhere. But yeah, that was a brilliant experience, and just seeing how the pros do it. I've been out there and seen before, but being so close, and how especially just how they talk over the shots. Again, it's all back to that course management stuff, but you can just see how it just makes it so much clearer. Understanding that, obviously Lucas' game totally different to mine, obviously, but still just seeing how you approach it and how much that helps them mentally, I think, to approach a shot by discussing it. But again, I go into more detail, so go check that out. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hope you like it. Keep following. Cheers.